and from Litchfield Park, it's DrinkinAZ with George Lindblom. I'm here today with three gentlemen from the West Side. West Side? Yeah. First of all, we have Ian Harwell, the beer guy from Ground Control. How you doing today, Ian?
Fantastic.
Awesome.
A little under the weather.
And we also have Paul Fertella, owner of Caballero in Goodyear. How you doing today, Paul?
Doing well, my friend. How are you?
All right, great. And King James Swan, last but certainly not least, the craft beer specialist at Young's Market. James, how are you doing today?
I am just peachy effing keen.
All right. And everybody got their beer? Everybody got their glass going? All right.
For 60-minute, baby.
Nice. And I'm sporting the Wanderlust, keeping it local. So, Ian, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about the place that we're here sitting at, Ground Control, here in Litchfield Park. Tell us a little bit about it.
All right. Ground Control, bringing craft beer to the West Valley for 8 years now.
Right?
Started on...
No crap on tap?
No crap on tap. Started
crap on top.
Started at an Indian school and Litchfield Road. Was there about 6 years. Needed a bigger place. Needed a real kitchen. So
right.
Moved down here.
Well, you certainly have a real kitchen. I mean, I see people in here eating and stuff. What kind of food do you have here?
Our wood-fired pizzas are pretty outstanding.
Awesome. And you have it all going on. We're sitting out here on the patio. It's a beautiful evening and a great place to hang out and have a beer. And inside you've got live music getting ready to happen.
Exactly. 2 people from Nashville.
Yeah?
Yeah, tonight. They were expensive. Hopefully people come out.
Yeah, well, yeah.
28.
If they sound as good as she looked, I think you're doing okay.
28 all craft handles.
Right. Tell us a little bit about the beer. And you have wine as well, so it's just so everybody knows it's full service, but we'll pull back into the beer a little bit. Tell us about your beer.
It's only about 5 staples. Everything else rotates.
Mm-hmm.
Rotate about anywhere from 6 to 12 kegs a week.
Right. And what are your staples? I mean, even your staples are probably not Bud Light, and stuff like that.
Our staples are triple caramel, St. Bernard, Schneider Weiss, Left Hand Milk Stout,
nice.
and a cider, because we're right down the street from one of the largest CrossFit gyms in the country.
Okay. So where does CrossFit fit into this?
Paleo. They can't have gluten.
Oh, really? So if you simulate like you're doing exercise activities, well, they simulate like real life events, right?
Yeah.
So they act like they're chopping wood and stuff like that.
I don't know much about it. All I know is they can't have gluten. So
can't have gluten, right?
So they have the cider a lot. We now have one of the kombucha beers on draft, the Bourbon Peach. That's doing really
kombucha,
well.
that's the fermented tea, right?
Yeah, the fermented tea. They made 8% beer with it.
Really?
Yeah, pretty damn good.
Yeah, I had a kombucha at home. We picked some up at Sprouts, and it was weird. It was.
Yeah, it's
yes.
It's a lot of sour fans like them.
Yeah.
They are a nice sweet and sour flavor.
Okay, and then you got a giant aquarium here. I saw.
It's a work in progress.
Right.
Had a lot better fish at the old location. Still developing the fish here.
So you have sushi on certain nights?
Yeah. You pull the fish out yourself.
Right. Nice.
And swallow them.
All right, and a man who's probably swallowed a few goldfish in his life, James. How you doing today, James? It's great to be back on the air.
How about you?
With
Thanks so much for having me again.
Oh yeah, it's good to see you again. And last, well, I mean, when we first met up, you were talking about the perch as something that was an idea, and I want to tell you, I don't know how many months later, maybe about 8 months later, thank you for the perch and everything that you did to make that happen, because it's an awesome place out in Chandler, and everybody's really enjoying it. So thank you so much for what you did. And James, you're the craft beer specialist over at Young's Market.
I am the craft beer specialist over at Young's Market with my partner, Wayne Riston.
Shout out to Wayne.
A shout out to Wayne. Absolutely. Yeah. He is the man.
Hi, Wayne.
All right. So,
hi, Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
So what do you...
Hi, Wayne. What's up, Wayne?
So Wayne, what do Wayne and you do over there at Young's Market? And Young's Market is not a deli where I'm going to go buy a pickle.
Young's Market
it's a
is not a
distributor,
deli.
right?
You don't want to talk about that
Let's not talk about the meat, Paul. Paul gets excited when we talk about the meat. Young's Market actually began as a marketplace in California years and years ago, where you could go to buy your wine, your beer, your liquor, and other grocery goods,
right?
And kind of just developed into what it is today, which is a multi-state beer, wine, and liquor distribution company. We have amazing brands here in Arizona,
Yeah, give us
including.
a few.
Sorry, go ahead.
Before you go into the beer,
Okay.
give us a few of the wine and a few of the spirits.
Let's see. Three Olives is one of our most important and popular spirits.
Swanky.
Yeah, it is. Trust me. The ladies absolutely adore those vodkas. Now here's the big one. Fireball. Everyone loves
Whoa,
Fireball. Yeah,
yeah.
Fireball belongs to us. If you'd like to talk
Fireball
about
belongs
wine,
to my wife.
yeah, there you
It's the only
are.
thing she drinks.
If you'd like to talk about wine, Menage a Trois. Can't forget Menage a Trois.
What does that mean, James?
3 grapes. So, like I said, Paul loves the meat.
Is that really what trois means, grapes?
It means 3, you
yeah.
wanker.
Well, I didn't know if. So Menage is a combining of the 3.
Grapes.
Where the hell the grapes come in
It's
there?
a wine terminology.
Yeah,
It's called Menage a Trois because it's a blend of 3 different grapes. Now, of
That's
course,
right.
there's a white blend, there's a red blend. You know, there's all sorts of delicious magicness happening there. But let's get back to the beer because that's why I'm here.
Absolutely, yeah. So the big one that sticks out like a sore thumb on your portfolio is Dogfish Head.
Dogfish Head is important, but let's not forget Full Sail Brewing,
Right.
Beverage World Magazine's Craft Brewery of the Year. Now, I know a lot of insane beer geeks don't consider Full Sail a hardcore craft brewery, but let's talk about why they got that award. It wasn't just about how geeky your beers are. They also looked into how green you are and how much waste you provide. A lot of breweries blow 5 to 6 gallons of water for every gallon of beer they produce. Full Sail, I believe, blows about 2 to 2.5 gallons of water for every gallon of beer they produce.
That's a lot
They're
of blowing.
big and they're huge. You gotta stop it, Paul. Like I said, Paul is into the meat.
Can't have your pudding.
Can't have your pudding. Pink. You got me on Pink Floyd. Full Sail is an amazing brewery. Won Craft Brewery of the Year from Beverage World Magazine, and again, it's because they have great practices as well as making fantastic beer. One of my favorites is their Chris's Summer Delight, which is an amazingly tangy Berliner Weiss they release over summer. They have their session beers out, which are session beers.
So the Berliner Weiss that you're talking about, I haven't seen that in the store, so it's not bottled?
It is bottled.
Really?
And you'll find it at better retailers. You'll find it
Okay.
at places like Sprouts.
Okay.
You'll find it at GCM out in Gilbert. I'm
Okay.
sure you'll find it at Taste of Tops out
Right.
in Tempe. But having said so, they have their session beers, which are now in PET kegs. So they're light, they're easy to carry, and beyond that, if you're buying a keg, you don't pay a deposit on these kegs. And that's an amazing thing coming from a bar manager's point of view, a long-time bar manager's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got $2,000 a week tied up in deposits, guess what I can't
Right.
buy? More beer.
Right. James got to really in here. We're going to talk about the rest of the brands, and we're going to get into bars and bar managers when we're talking to Paul over here.
That sounds great.
Yeah, when we come back here at the end of the break. So we'll talk to you in a bit. This is George at DrinkinAZ.
Cheers.
This is Adam with DrinkinAZ. I want to tell you guys about Sun Devil Liquors. This is a massive store that can serve all your beverage needs. They feature wine tasting every Thursday from their swanky cellar, beer tastings on Friday nights featuring 8 different beers on tap and a specialty on cask. You can pick out any bottle to mix and match, choose from over 350 kegs, 1,000 specialty beers, and over 1,500 imported or domestic wines. Check them out at 235 North Country Club Drive, Mesa, Arizona.
And that's David Bowie, Ground Control. And we're here at Ground Control with Major Ian at the helm, the beer guy. How you doing, Ian?
Awesome.
All right. So, James, we were talking
Awesome.
about Full Sail.
We were.
Yeah. And I made the comment, off the air that Full Sail, good beer, and I have Full Sail in my fridge right now. Great beer that I would buy. A little bit close to the vest, a little bit maybe considered a safe brewery. Tell us what you said.
Okay, well, for starters, I had one other thing to say before we broke for the break.
Okay.
Before we broke for the break.
Right.
One more important aspect of Full Sail that makes them so incredibly neat is that not only are they insanely green, not only are they craft, but they are 100% employee owned.
Right.
For a brewery that distributes as much beer as they do all around the United States, for a company as large as they are doing what they're doing, they are still in the United States 100% employee owned. And I don't know how many other places, how many other corporations or businesses or anything can say that in the United States anymore. And that's just something I thought I'd point out because it's very important.
God bless America.
Now, having said so, you wanted to know a little more about why they are craft.
Yeah.
Again.
No, I didn't. Wait, well, hold on. I didn't say they weren't craft.
Okay.
I just want to know they kind of have a reputation as being safe, and you were educating me as to a little bit more about the brewery. So go ahead and share that with us.
There are some amazing beers that they do. Again, my favorite that they do is called Chris's Summer Delight. It's an insanely tangy, beautifully crisp, perfect Berliner Weiss. For Arizona summers, there's nothing better in the world. They have two Christmas brews or two winter seasonals that are absolutely wonderful. One of them is called Wassail,
Right, I've had that.
and it's absolutely delicious. One is called Wreck the Halls,
Nice.
which I absolutely adore. They do a lot of wonderful things. They make a fantastic Kolsch. They have wonderful beers. Do we see them all the time out here? We do at the better beer and liquor stores. Go to GCM out in Gilbert. Try Sprouts.
Taste the Tops.
Yeah, maybe Taste the Tops in Tempe.
Yeah.
You'll find their great beers. You will
Right.
for sure.
Okay, great. What else you got in your bag of tricks?
Well, I don't know. What else would you like to ask me?
I'm portfolio-wise, your beers.
Oh, as far as
Yeah.
Young's beers go, well,
Yeah.
we began talking about Dogfish Head.
Right.
We mentioned Full Sail, but then, of course, we can't go anywhere without talking about Maui Brewing. And then, of course, we have to mention Iron Fist.
Okay.
And I don't know how many of you guys out there today are organic eaters and drinkers, but we have Bison Brewing, which
Right.
is 100% organic. Now, we've just recently...
Do you know the beer wench over there? Have you met her yet?
I do know the beer wench.
Yeah.
Yes, I do indeed.
You need to tell her to accept my friendship on Facebook.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
I don't
guys.
know who she thinks she is.
She's my friend on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah. Well.
That would be Ashley Rooston.
Right.
Did I pronounce her last name right? I believe I did. Anyway,
my wife's friends with her.
there we
Not
go.
me.
Really?
Moving on beyond there.
Uh-huh.
They're just we have a lot of great beers that are not only craft but import as well. I don't know that if you know Carlsberg or Kronenberg
Right.
or Koenig Ludwig or Tetley's or John Smith's. I grew up on John Smith's. That's a blue collar beer where I grew up, but
Right.
it's delicious.
Course and don't.
Alien.
Yes, we do have the Alien beers. We do have Korsendonk. If you want to get a little further into, of course, Belgians, there's the Orval and the Trappist Roquefort, which are amazing brews as well.
Orval and Trappist Roquefort.
You
have
got
those
it.
two.
Our
Wow.
beers.
Wow.
So our
That's not
portfolio
small potatoes right there.
portfolio is nicely well rounded. Although it wouldn't be bad to have a local beer, and that's where we're going next. We'd love to have the next local brewery. And really get behind them, really support, really show what we know about local beer and what we want to be concerning local beer.
Excellent. All right.
Not going to mention Squatters and Wasatch.
Oh, well, I should, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to yet. When is this thing going to air?
About a week.
Okay, then I can mention it. We did just pick up Squatters and Wasatch from Salt Lake City. Of
Okay.
course, they make amazing beers. Their Hop Rising Double IPA is phenomenal.
That's awesome.
They have an apricot Hefeweizen that is to die for. They have their, of course, Polygamy Porter.
Right.
Well, I mean, coming from Utah, what else would you call a porter?
When one's not enough, right?
When one is just not enough. Now, in addition to calling it Polygamy Porter, because of course they're a Utah brewery.
Duncan likes that.
Duncan, that's for you, mate. The beer is also very sessionable. It's very low alcohol, so the idea that you can drink it all night is kind of the punchline where you can have more than one, of course.
Right. All night long.
All night long.
Who cares if they're wearing like gunny sacks and
Or nothing.
yeah. All right. So, and then you have the little project of the Adventures in Brew.
Adventures in Brew is a little television pilot series we are shooting and working on and pushing and growing and learning, and we've had our ups, we've had our downs, but we're still having a lot of fun with it, and that's what's most important.
That's awesome. So cheers to that.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So let's get over to Paul Fertella, the man, the myth, the legend.
That's right.
From Mesa. Well, not originally, but a man from Mesa. He went to the high school where my kids actually go to now.
That's right. I'm from California, from Huntington Beach.
Huntington Beach.
Yeah, but
That's a nice place too. But
went to
you
high
know,
school in Mesa.
Red Mountain.
That's right.
Right on. Go Lions.
Go.
And I guess you are, just getting started on this whole restaurant thing. You've never really opened one up before, or?
Well, this is my first restaurant that I've had as an owner-operator, but it's
that was a joke, by the way.
Oh, okay.
This is your 17th restaurant you're opening.
16th.
16th restaurant.
We're working on the 17th right now.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. So tell us a little bit about Caballero. I mean, you got a big presence down here in Goodyear.
Caballero was it was always a dream of mine, and back in I guess it was 2007, I created the concept, and it was something I always wanted to do.
What is the concept?
The concept is basically, the easiest way to describe it is to compare it to something else. It's like having a beer. The first IPA you drink, you're telling me, it's a great IPA. Okay, compared to what?
Right.
So, if you compare it to, have you heard of Richardson's and Southwestern Cuisine out in Phoenix?
No, I'm sorry, I haven't.
Bandera in Scottsdale.
I've heard of Bandera.
Give me one of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so it's basically it's like these restaurants with these wood-fired grills, kind of rustic, elegant. And I used to go there every year for my birthday, even though it was in Phoenix and I lived in Mesa. And it was very comfortable to me that the smell was good when you walked in. You smelled the wood. The
I
food
love
was
it
good.
when Paul says wood.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I drove with James today on the way here.
Hey, what you two do on your way to the show is your business.
So we'll talk about baseball later. So, anyways,
We'll talk about relief pitching.
that's right. I'm pitching, you're catching. So
balls to the chin or something.
Yeah, chin nuts, something like that.
Yeah. All right.
So, anyway, it was I wanted to create a concept. I guess everybody wants to create a concept where they want to hang out, where they want to feel comfortable, the kind of food they want to eat.
Right.
And so that's what I did, and so we came out here to Goodyear. Well, first of all, we tried to open a location in the East Valley, and we got shot down. If you're not born with money, you have to go out and open something and kind of throw everything out there that you have, which isn't much. And so you get shot down, and the only failure is actually giving up. And so finally, we hired a good broker.
What kind of restrictions did you run into in the East Valley that you didn't run into in the West Valley? Because this is the West Valley show.
Okay.
Yeah,
exactly. So this is the West Valley show. So the thing about the West Valley is there's a lot of upsides to it. It's the same demographics as it is in the East Valley. It's a little bit different. You have a little more blue collar out here, a little more white collar in the East Valley. But actually, the rent is a little cheaper out here than it is in the East Valley, and so when you're going demographics, as far as like the whole, how many people are in the area and how much income it has, it's actually identical in the West Valley. And
the big difference is when you guys drive to work in the morning, you got the sun in your face.
Exactly.
When you drive home, you got it in your face again.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's the big difference. So
not too much of a difference.
Yeah, but other than that, so we came out here and we hired a broker and they pulled everything up in the Phoenix area, and the McGrath's Fish House over here on Litchfield and McDowell went out of business. And when we walked in, we saw the building, we just fell in love with it. I mean, it was just a beautiful, $2.5 million build out. It was kind
Nice.
of rustic, elegant, but it was a fish house, so they had like a green paint. But we knew that we'd be able to go in there and create a private dining room and change the colors and change the lighting. And, with minimal money, we'd be able to go in there and actually create a concept, of what our dream was.
What kind of food do you serve up? You said wood-fired. Is it a lot of wood-fired cuisine?
Wood-fired, so the name is Caballero Grill. Caballero means gentleman in Spanish. So sometimes we get the thing, hey, we thought...
I thought it meant cowboy.
Cowboy is vaquero.
Vaquero.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for
yeah.
straightening me out on that.
So, if you go to Mexico and you look at the restrooms out there, it'll say Caballero on the restroom. It's gentleman.
Gentlemen. All right.
So, but anyways, so we created the concept and came out here and we wanted to open something. So, sorry, to go back to the question, to revert back to the question, what was it? Was what type of food we had? The food we have is modern American is what we called it. It's not Mexican food. It's not a steakhouse like some people might think. But we do have a few Southwest type style food.
So what is modern American? Like give me a couple examples of that.
Okay, so modern American, I mean, you have avocado chimis, which is it's not Mexican food, it's not American food, but most of the concept is stuff that we grew up eating out here. There's green chili pork, there's carne adobada, wood-fired steaks, wood-fired burgers. I mean, the stuff that you grew up eating in your backyard in Arizona.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, is kind of what we serve. So
I would describe them personally as the West Side's best gastropub.
Yeah, gastropub.
yeah, we never really described it as that, but either way, we'll take it. But also, the one thing that we do on Sundays is the Sunday brunch, and our goal with Sunday brunch was to take Vegas and bring it to the West Side as close as we can get it. Of course, we don't have a $50 million
So
casino.
all you can eat buffet and
All you can eat
free
buffet,
drinks.
crab legs, dessert bar, all you can drink mimosas. I mean, the whole 9 yards.
Really?
Yeah, $20. I mean, you come in here and I'm telling you.
Delicious waffles.
Yeah, waffle bar,
Wow.
fresh Belgian waffles, eggs Benedict, omelet station. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a half of a football field of food.
Wow, I have
Yeah.
to bring the wife over for that.
Yeah,
that
I
sounds,
mean,
that sounds good.
and we wanted to make it an event, so it's not like, if you go to Denny's and you have breakfast, and somebody calls you and say, "Hey, what did you do today?" I went to Denny's. You don't say that, but if you do come eat at a restaurant and somebody say, "Hey, what did you do today?" Well, you're gonna spend 3-4 hours there,
Wow.
drinking mimosas, eating food, because it's an event. That's what you're created. So
Is it kid friendly?
absolutely, yeah. There's
So
kids in
if
there.
I were to bring my kids to this brunch, would
Bring your kids in there at 9:00, and they're going to eat breakfast and lunch for $9 or $8.
Nice.
I'm sorry, $8.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but so that was a big key point. We also have craft beer. We didn't want to create a concept where it was like going to Chili's,
right.
and you have Bud Light on tap. We do have 22 craft handles.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the craft beer that you have
Okay.
and your approach with beer, and we'll be talking more about the West Side here on DrinkinAZ.
Hey, this is Dunk from the Dunk Tank. Did you know Tops Liquor has over 2,000 wines in stock from all over the world and over 2,000 spirits? There's huge selections of rum, tequila, scotch, vodka, you name it, they got it. And did I mention beer? Over 2,000 varieties of craft beer from Arizona and all over the world. So come next door to the Taste of Tops, where you can always find at least 25 very special beers on tap and hundreds of beers by the bottle. Come on down to Tops and you'll never want to leave. That is, until your wife tells you to come home.
And back on the West Side with Ian Harwell here at Ground Control
That's me.
and King James Swan
You got me.
and Paul Frutella
Cheers.
from Caballero,
Cheers.
and that's where we left off was with Paul. So Paul, I think when we left off, we were talking a little bit about beer. And tell us about beer and how beer fits into the experience there. And we were during the commercial break, we were just going crazy about your buffet and everybody wanting to go eat there. It sounds so amazing. So tell us how beer fits into this.
That's right. And the thing about coming out of the West Side, it was a lot different than the East Valley, because the East Valley, we were out there, and there's a big craft beer crowd. People drink craft beer. And we moved out to the West Side. We thought it would be an easy transition, and it's really not. The West Side was different. When we opened up Caballero Grill over here on Litchfield, McDowell, we started introducing craft beers. We started with 8 handles. Now we have 22. But also before we got there, we did quite a few things. We did wine dinners, beer dinners, but craft beer. So one of the things about when we did our first craft beer dinner, it was new. We had a few people show up, And lately, as of the last couple of craft beer dinners that we do, they're sold out. Depends on what side of the dining room we do it, but between 30 and 80 people. And I think one of the things that shocks the craft beer industry, and the reps that come out from the breweries and things like that, is that we have a different crowd out here. There's a retirement community, and so you have people coming out here to drink craft beer now. And this isn't the type of crowd where we stole the competition or anything like that. This is something we created. And so you have retirement communities coming out here drinking craft beer, IPAs and things like that. And that's something that we started by creating good food and pairing food with beer.
Nice.
And so when these reps come out from these brewing companies and things like that, they're shocked when they come into a beer dinner, and you'll have a handful of 20-year-olds, maybe like 3 or 4 people, and then you have maybe 10, 30-year-olds, and the rest of them are retired people.
That's something that I've really pondered about the East Valley, because I live up in the Northeast Valley.
Right.
And there's a lot of retirement people up there, and
Exactly.
I've always wondered if it would actually make it up there. I guess what you're saying is you got to grow that from
We created
the
the
ground
crowd,
up.
yeah, and so the West Valley is more of a blue collar crowd versus the East Valley is a white collar crowd. So they're used to trying new things. They have a business
Have
account.
you had a hard time getting them away from Bud and Bud Light?
It takes time, but it's not hard.
No?
I mean, when they come in, they see something new, they see you drinking something, they see you talking about something, they want to try it, and you can't go, you're not going to go from a Bud Light to a Dogfish 90 over here from Young's Market. I mean, you're going to go from,
Right.
you're going to go from a Bud Light to an Alien Amber. You're going to go from a Bud Light to, the Koenig Ludwig, which is a nice Hefeweizen.
Kolsch or something.
Kolsch or, something like that. So, I mean, it starts in baby steps, just the same thing as wine. I mean, the first time you try a Cabernet Sauvignon, you're like, well, that's not very good. It's dry. It tastes like, it's not very good. It's hot
Right.
outside. So same thing with beer. I mean, it just takes a little bit. And, but, especially when you pair it with food and you do beer dinners and things like that, then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute, I get it. I get the citrus taste. I get the citrus salad. It makes sense now. And so that's what we're creating out here.
Wow. It really seems like you put a lot of thought into your restaurant, and I know you've been doing restauranting for forever and opening up 16 restaurants prior to
Correct.
to this one. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really happy for you that you've been able to do that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's something that I fell into. And in all fairness, I mean, let's face it, restaurant is an entry level job. It's not like I'm a pharmacist.
Mm-hmm.
I got into it and literally never knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. And as I'm trying to figure it out, this is what I landed. So I mean, it's still to this day. I mean, I'm 36 years old and I still don't know what I want to do.
That's what they say. Life is what happens while you're busy making plans. Right?
Exactly. But in the meantime, I mean, I love what I do. And it's just a great thing. I mean, the craft beer, the wine, I mean, the food. It's the whole industry, and
in the West Side,
in the West Side,
making it happen on the West Side, making
absolutely.
a name for yourself and for the West Side in general.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, Ian, you're over here on the West Side, a little bit north of Caballero.
I'd say about 2 miles, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 miles.
Yes,
And
sir.
when you're hearing Paul talk about his crowd and everything, do you relate to that?
I would say we have a little bit of a different crowd than at Caballero. They both generate. We both get the beer geeks. But when you were asking the question about the Bud Lights and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that option, and people don't come here looking for it. We've had the name for 8 years. People know we do craft beer.
Right. Okay. Now, I walked through there a little while ago, and I saw a lot of families enjoying themselves with kids, and it just seemed like to be a really comfortable place where you can bring your family.
We're designed to be a European hangout spot.
And you got the gelato when you walk in,
We do.
right?
Make our own gelato, roast our own coffees. Been used in a couple beers around the state and in Odell beer.
Nice. So, this is, we got two really jewels here of the West Valley tonight. And James, I want to thank you for, turning us onto it. This is, how did you get involved in the West Valley, James?
I've known Ian. I mean, Ian is the West Valley beer god, I think. And Paul runs a place that I've spent entirely too much time and money at. So there you are. And they're both magnificent, shining beacons of what craft beer is, can be, should be, and will be out on the West Side.
Right. Awesome. So what do you see for the future? And anybody here can chime in. What do you see for the future of the West Valley? Where's it headed?
Well, I think it's behind the times a little bit. I mean, it's exactly where the East Valley is. Other than we're a few years behind. There's nothing out here. You go to Tempe and you go to Chandler. You get the Chandler Mall. You got Chandler with all this stuff. You got the Santan Brewing. You got all these brewing companies.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, we have Peoria Artisan Brewery out here. It's a real small thing. But
Hi, Neil.
Yeah, huh?
Just saying hi to Neil.
Peoria is a bit
Neil.
north,
Hi, Neil.
a bit north
Yeah.
of here, isn't it?
Well, it's called Peoria, but it's right here in Litchfield Park.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Litchfield Tap Room. They
Yeah.
essentially wanted to open up in Peoria. It didn't work out. They opened up this place to gain some capital to open up something bigger.
So, but yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, it's a different crowd though, versus the white collar. You have the blue collar, but the same income level. I mean, these superintendents and construction workers are making the same money they are at Intel, but it's a little different, and they're used to drinking Bud Light at the sports bars, and so Ground Control is a great place. Our restaurant's a great place. It's a little different than what the West Valley's used to. They're used to sports bars, Italian food, sushi. And that's it when it comes to owner-operated places. Other than that, it's chain restaurants. So, I think what we brought here is a little different. And Ian's up the street a little bit. It's only a couple miles, but it is Litchfield Park, and they're by the Wigwam. So we're drawing a little bit different crowd,
right.
But at the same time, we're drawing people to Litchfield, which is Litchfield Road, which is right where we're at, and Ground Control was the Sean that opened the place was the original. I guess sort of the founder of the craft beer out here, and we met him, and we always got along good, and we try and partner with him as much as we can, and do great things. So, but definitely you can see the future of the West Valley over the next few years, definitely catching up with the East Valley, and it already is. So
I think it is because you have one brewery in Mesa, Desert Eagle, and you have another one coming soon, the Beer Research Institute. But other than that, I mean, where I live in Mesa, Northeast Mesa, is a giant pocket of nothingness when it comes to breweries.
You've got, as far as the craft beer bar goes out there, you've still got the Handlebar Grill and Bar out there, which is still doing great craft beer.
Right. And, there's a vacuum, though, up in Northeast Mesa that one bar is not going to fill. You need more, and we're waiting for more things to happen up there, and we'll continue to support the ones that are there, and drive by the Applebee's as much as the wife.
Well, so find me a location and I'll sign the lease. That's all I gotta say.
But tonight,
and that was where I was going. Thank you for reminding me. Your place in the East Valley, you're getting redy to open up.
Yeah, we have an agreement. It's not a signed lease yet, but basically we partnered up with one of the landlords. And we're looking at doing a very, things evolve, So like you look at my restaurant here, it's very rustic, elegant. It's a big restaurant, but when you look at, a chain restaurant, it starts out as one thing, and then as you start growing, it evolves into another thing.
Mm-hmm. I think we had this conversation earlier.
We did have this conversation. So our next location is going to be a lot different. We're going to have sliding glass doors, indoor outdoor bar. There's going to be 30 taps 30 handles on tap. Very, very trendy.
Well, let me say thank you as a Mesa resident.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Thank you. Yeah, for the support. So we're in collaboration right now with this landlord out there that owns this property, and so. Hopefully, we plan on signing a lease within the next few weeks.
And we could say Southeast Mesa, not extreme Southeast Mesa. Because Mesa's weird. It goes all the way down into crazy borders when
Guadalupe,
you get out east.
It's Guadalupe in between Ellsworth and Haas, right off the 202. So,
guys, though, before we go too far, I mean, tonight's focus was really about the West Side.
Yes.
And that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this thing at Ground Control. That's why we have Paul from Caballero here. The West Side is an amazing place, and it's only going to get better with Peoria Artisan Brewing.
Litchfield Park is beautiful, by the way.
It is. It really is.
Awesome.
Driving up here was absolutely amazing. Once you get off the interstate and cruise through, it's absolutely beautiful territory. But my point is it's going to be bigger, it's going to be better, it's going to be greater out here than you could ever imagine. And these two guys, Ian from Ground Control, Paul from Caballero, this is the reason we're all here tonight. And this is the reason things are only going in one direction in this little part of the world, just like maybe the East Valley was 10 years ago.
Right.
But it's really weird too. But not weird, but one of the things we're talking about on the way over here, there's so much history, and it's really a neat area, a neat part of town. The Wigwam, which is probably a half mile from here, and a mile and a half from my restaurant, which is a 5-star resort. It's which I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but Paul Litchfield is where the name came from.
Oh, really?
And Paul Litchfield was the president of Goodyear Tire Company, and so that's where you get Goodyear. That's where you get Litchfield.
Okay.
His name was Paul Litchfield, and then of course he was the president of Goodyear Tire Company. But as James and I were driving up here, you could see his house up on the hill, and it was just beautiful. I mean, it's just covered by palm trees,
surrounded by
a
million
these
palm
3
trees.
acres, and so there's so much history out here, and it's such a neat place. There's so many golf courses. There's so many. I mean, it's just a resort area, and it's so ritzy, and just people don't know about it. So
Yeah.
To go back to the initial question about the future of West Valley beer.
Sure.
I made a comment on the Arizona craft beer lovers earlier that you're gonna soon need like a Litchfield Road beer bus because there's so many places opening up on
Absolutely.
Litchfield Road. You got-
Hoppy Moto. You
yeah,
listening?
Hoppy Moto.
Yeah.
Got Caballero, Pure Artisan, us, and now Kegs, Cork, and Forks. Up in Surprise.
Arizona
All on
Brewery
Litchfield.
Tours.
Yeah.
Are you listening?
and this is something that I don't get out much, and I'm sure Ian probably doesn't much either. When
kidding?
well, when you work at restaurants, I mean, I put in a lot, anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week, and so when I do go out and I get out, I do stop by Ground Control, I do stop by Pure Artisan Brewery, and there's another place out here called Taps, in Old Pueblo, so the local places. I mean, I buy local, I eat local, and I keep the money in the family, and so
And that's what we're all, not to cut you off, but that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Is drinking AZ, keeping it local, keeping it Arizona, and
Yeah.
really embracing the whole craft beer movement here in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, I come in here,
Paul-
I can see Ian, I can see Sean, his kids, and you can come to my place and see me, and then Sundays I bring my daughters in there, they're hostess, they help out at the restaurant, and so that's what we're all about on this side of the street here.
You should see Paul's daughters.
All right, calm down.
How old are they? How old are they?
I have
Is this okay to say on the air?
yeah, 11, 13, and 18.
You should see his 11-year-old daughter carry a tray of food. It's amazing.
Raising them up in the,
Oh
in the
my
family
God!
business.
they're great
girl,
kids.
This girl is
And-
a professional already.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, they're good kids and they enjoy it, and they're respectful, they're responsible, and you'd think that getting up on a Sunday at 7:00 in the morning to go to work for Sunday brunch would be a task, and I'm telling you, they're up at 6:30, they're dressed, they're ready to go, and they're excited to go to work, and they never hassle me. And it's a great feeling, and I couldn't imagine. It was never like that when I was a kid, but I couldn't imagine for them. It's just the responsibility to learn, what it's like to be, a family-owned restaurant and be able to come in and go to work, and they take it serious. I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Living the dream.
yeah.
Living the dream out here in the beautiful West Valley.
Hey, George, if you don't mind me butting in for one more second.
No.
When we were on about Full Sail earlier, we were
Yes.
talking about the fact that at the level they are, they're still 100% employee-owned.
Right.
I'd like to point out that here on the west side, both of these places, Ground Control and Caballero, are indeed 100% family-owned.
Yeah.
Right. When you spend your money here in with the local businesses, it stays here in Arizona, right?
That's right. It's like, I think the difference is like, 70 if you spend money to local business, 70% stays in the state. And if it's something corporate owned, it's like, 35% stays
Right.
in the state, and so the question is, well, it's still the United States, but at the same time, here you are trying to drive your economy, you're trying to drive your personal income. It's, buying like local just makes sense.
Right.
And but to get back to the West Valley, like we were talking about earlier, I mean, it's really amazing how far it's come, how far Ground Control has taken it. Being the pioneers of coming out here and starting with a couple tap handles, and then we came out here and we partnered up and we met with Sean, and we stocked the coffee, but now now we're at a different level. I mean, now we do a beer dinner and 100 people show up.
Yeah.
And that's not something where we stole people where, hey, they're coming down. This is something we've created. This is something that
Right.
Ian's created. It's
So you got to come. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, something that Ian's created, something that we've created, and the beer reps of the West Valley too. I mean, it's a collaboration. I mean, there's a lot of people working
Right.
hard.
Hold on. Sorry to interrupt. You mentioned beer ups. I just want to give a nice shout out to Mike Davila from Hensley. He's done a great job in growing this business out in the West Valley.
So you got good relationships with your beer reps out
big
here.
time.
Awesome.
Yeah, Hensley's done a phenomenal job. I mean, they're a good company. They pay well. They have good employees, and on the flip side, the thing we're looking forward to is obviously James Swan sitting across from me here.
Right.
Getting into this craft beer and getting out of the restaurant and really supporting, having a job that he's known for.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and promoting, people like us. And so I'm very grateful for it. I'm grateful for the air show tonight, and I'm grateful for what you do. So I appreciate all you've done for us so far, James. I appreciate
Thanks, mate,
it.
because that's why I'm here tonight.
Hey,
Yeah.
Because
hey,
the
James.
side to me is awesome.
And I was just going to say, guys, thank you for letting us. Ian, thank you so much for having us out here tonight. And Paul, thank you for coming out and sharing your story with us. And James, what is next for James Swan? What do you got? What do you got in the hopper, man? What's the next chapter in your book? What are you going to do over there with Young's Market?
Well, I've only been working for Young's a week and a half now.
Right.
And I spent the first week in what they called immersion, learning about the company, learning about their history, learning about their accounts, learning about their place in Arizona, learning about their history, learning about the beers they sell as well as the spirits and wines they sell. Because of course it's all important. I mean, beer cocktails are a hip thing these days.
Right.
A little liquor, a little beer, mix it all up, make it fun. But having said so, just growing the beer business for the company. And again, we're all out here on the west side because this is a priority for me, the west side. And I'm really hoping to do my best to grow the beer business, the craft beer business out here.
Speaking of
Right.
growing
And
beer
that- it's a
business,
legacy.
Should we talk? We both have
about length.
events coming up with you.
We do indeed. So let's talk a little bit about
All right,
that. Ian,
let's
that's
go ahead.
absolutely a wonderful idea. On the 25th of April, we have a dogfish event here at Ground Control with Ian. And of course, they're called Ground Control because coffee grounds. And they have a wonderful espresso bar, which is almost as cool as their beer and whiskey bar.
Oh, yeah?
Having said so, we're going to brew four little pitchers of an amazing espresso coffee, chill them, and come in the next day or the next evening for an event and pour 4 different dogfish beers, 60-minute, 61-minute, 90-minute, and Burton Baton with 4 different espresso beans. And we'll be blending each particular beer with one particular bean or one particular coffee. So we'll have 4 coffee IPAs that night. Each
came
one of
up
them
with
just
this?
a little bit different. Ian and I did together.
Wow.
Now, beyond that, at Caballero, we're doing a month-long promotion with Boulder Brewing, which is a menu pairing. 4 different menu items paired with 4 different Boulder beers for the entire month. Actually, technically from April 18th till May 16th, where you can buy the entire meal, the entire 4-course meal, with the pairing, with the beer pairing, from the starter to the main to the desserts and everything else, and or choose to drink the beer and or just have the food and or just choose the pairing together. So the world is your oyster really, and you're going to enjoy it one way or the other.
Nice. That's amazing stuff you got going on, and
this is all out here
This is in
on the
week
west
1.5,
side.
right?
And this is all out here on the west side with 2 amazing guys and 2 amazing restaurants.
I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's the way we've designed it out here in the West Valley. Is that if you're drinking Bud Light every day to kind of get drunk, it's a hard task to take somebody and say, hey, you might want to try this beer, right? Because you've been drinking the same lager, the same thing. And so to switch somebody over, you almost have to do these pairing dinners or, do what Ian's doing and take the coffee bean because they're just not going to switch,
Right.
And so, there's so far this year, we've had 26,000 customers at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, you make a small dent. I mean, you're talking, 1,000 people where they've tried something different. You've paired up these street tacos. You got this thing, with this nice IPA, and you've got this. So that's what it's about. It's about doing this Boulder IPA thing. It's about, taking great beer and then pairing it up with food.
It's about the west side.
The west side, where you can take a blue collar person, a construction worker, and make them realize that hey, that's it's not about just putting down 25 Bud Lights. It's about eating these this group of bruschetta that pairs well with this beer because they've never had it before. It's not that they don't like it; they just don't know it.
Right.
So,
thanks so much for having us tonight. We really appreciate you coming out and
Definitely, thank you.
recording what we're saying and what we have to think and what we have to do.
Oh, thank you so much, and our listeners are really going to enjoy this. And again, I want to say thanks to all 3 of you. And,
thank you. I appreciate it.
and,
you guys are great.
Yeah. So thanks to all 3 of you, and we're going to see you next week here with DrinkinAZ. This is George. Cheers.
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 Cheers.